I have a note sheet of what I have to wear every day with details of what jewelry, boots, hat, scarf, whatever the heck goes with it. I don't feel like I have any time to think, but we put our heads down, we survive the days, and you go with it. Usually by day 6, it becomes fun.
Hey, everybody, and thanks for listening to another episode of the Kick Your Boots Up podcast. We're in season 3. Can you believe we made it? I have learned so much over the past few years, and I'm so excited to open up my circle of friends this season with you guys and share with you a little bit about the people that I admire most. So what better way to segue into the person that is going to be on the podcast now than to introduce you to Brilynn Bentley with Las Vegas Events. She's the corporate marketing manager and the assistant general manager for the junior NFR. Mouthful. Did I say that right? All that right?
It's a lot. It's all right,
Okay,
but it's a lot.
Well, Brilynn, I'm so happy that you're in studio today, especially because your schedule has been crazy. Talk about what you're going to be doing while we were able to catch you here in Fort Worth.
Yes, so we are here meeting with a bunch of sponsors just in general for the NFR, whether it's Cowboy Christmas related, NFR itself, or junior NFR. And with that, we also get to join the ARC, Association of Rodeo Committees. Then I will join the 30 Under 30 Alumni Gala elements, and then also the American Rodeo. So it's jam-packed.
It's crazy, but honestly, I am actually really happy to see you and happy to see you for 30 Under 30. I know this has been a long time coming and so well-deserved. So I've got to give a special shout out to you right now on camera. So happy for you. Like, seriously, I feel like I've known you longer than I have. And it's funny, we were just talking about like how we met and stuff, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I've actually known your dad longer than I've known you through Little Britches Rodeo, which is like so fun. I feel like I also got to grow up alongside you just because of like how proud he is of you.
Absolutely.
So.
My dad literally will never take a moment to not probably mention me. Funny enough, he was definitely a big part of why I'm in the rodeo industry, right? Like he was a PRCA bullfighter, then he was the National Little Britches Rodeo director, and that really led into, I think, where I met a lot of sponsors that I still actually get to work with today, which is very, very unique. They have known me since I was 12 years old. So it's interesting, especially for dad. Sometimes it's hard because I was definitely Bud's daughter for a while as we were talking, right? Like you get into the industry and they're like, oh, Bud's daughter. Okay. And now it's, hey, you're Brylynn's dad. So that's always a thing. And it's very entertaining. But I have definitely cherished every moment that he's given me in that area.
Oh, yeah. And I can tell that you're equally as proud to be his daughter than he is to have you as a daughter. So that's really cool. And, okay, so we mentioned how we met. So I feel like we've got to share because I was actually asking you before and you're like, I don't remember until I said we were in Reno. And then she was like, oh yeah. Okay. So you guys have to know, Brilynn and I originally met when we were on a golf cart. My former boss was driving and it was hilarious. We were just driving. I don't even know. We were just driving around the rodeo grounds at the Reno Rodeo.
That's it.
And
we were literally just driving.
Yeah. Like I think we were like trying to go somewhere. I don't remember. Anyways, he was like, have you met her? And I was like, no. And then we like met and then it was just like, oh, rodeo queen, cool, rodeo, cool. And then it wasn't until like much later that I was like, wait, Bud's daughter.
Yeah, no, it definitely all comes around for sure. This industry is so small, but so unique because of that, because you're like, no, wait, oh, yes. Like, oh, I high school rodeoed with them way back in the day. Like, it starts all evolving, and it's so intriguing to see, like, the phases of life really start to change and catch up with us, because you're like, oh, I haven't seen them for 10 years. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, my gosh, like, where have you been this whole time?
Who are you?
How did that happen? Oh, you work for this company? Wow. Like, it's so interesting to see how it all changes and, like, how life changes for everyone in that scenario.
Oh, yeah. And that was, like, the perfect thing for me to ask you. Do you feel like you've had to like rebrand yourself from like young girl Brilynn, I guess Bud's daughter, to now your own self? Because I've struggled with that a lot too, like being the young rodeo queen. You know, it's like I'm an adult now, I have a career.
Yeah, I mean, I think internally, like with family, was definitely harder than anything, just because like I wasn't the little kid anymore. Like all of a sudden, I was actually like this businesswoman. But my career path was definitely very different. So most don't know, I actually started in 2017 as just like an event intern. And I was technically 16 years old, working at the junior NFR at that time, the second year it existed there at Convention Center. And it was literally a part-time thing. Like I would come in just those 10 days. Then I graduated high school at 17 with my associate's degree, and again did the NFR that fall. And then in 2018, did one more, small internship just during the event. And then that February 2019 is when I actually was brought in part-time at Las Vegas events. So like I kind of had enough involvement that I really had the young Brilynn before I was in office, at least, right? Like, and then when I got in office, honestly, like I wasn't 21 yet. I was barely 19, getting ready to graduate college with my bachelor's degree at 19 years old, which was like a crazy thing that I decided to do because I put my head down and said I was going to do this while college rodeoing for UNLV. And it literally all just kind of like kept going. And it was like, hey, you keep going. Like you're on a train right now, ride it, right? Like you can't allow it to stop. So it was like, all right, like here we go. We have a big kid job now. Like there's no downtime. And then it really just like 2020 happened. We all had to work from home. And that was super unique because like I was really getting ready to move out and then like it all happened and you're like, whoa, what just happened?
Back with mom and dad.
Yeah, like stay here a little bit longer, okay.
Yeah.
And then 2021 happens and that's when I went full time as the corporate marketing partnerships person.
Okay.
So still really stayed in the same role, still really handled junior NFR elements, which was Junior World Finals in that moment.
That's true.
But really until 2023, that is when I became corporate marketing manager and then also assistant general manager. So like as it evolved, thankfully, like it all played out very well in my time frame. But when I look back at it now, like going into year 26, now I'm like, holy crap. Like now I get why everyone was so shocked that I was doing this. Like I look back and it's genuinely still a shell shock. Like I still don't know how I was like, how did I do that? Like, what just happened, guys? Like, and it was in a blink of an eye. Like after college, I don't care who you are, life flies. And if anyone thinks different, I need you to talk to me about it because like, I don't know how it happened. Like I swear we were just at college rodeos, high school, like everything. Kids grow up fast all of a sudden, like your nieces and nephews are grown. You're like, how is this happening?
It's actually really wild that you say that because, you know, in corporate world for sure, I'm sure small businesses do the same, but it's all quarterly. You think about things quarterly.
Right.
Like honestly, right now, you're definitely planning the NFR. We should be planning our elements of the, like everyone should be doing that right now because Q2 just happened or just started. Like it's just so wild. You're so right. Time is like, I kind of used to always make fun of my dad or like joke, like, you're just an old man. You don't really like, yeah, time flies, ha ha ha. But like, no, you're so right. Our nieces are grown now and like, or like nieces and nephews are grown and it's just wild. It's such a wild thing. But I will say, I've got to brag on you there too, because it's like a testament to your hard work. Because like a lot of people wouldn't go out on a limb for someone so young and trust them and give them the responsibility that they did. So that's what I love about the industry too, is that it's like very much like you earn your keep. Yes. And you learned it the Cowgirl way. You did it the Cowgirl way. So my question for you is, what is your best advice then for someone that has like, either they're in college and they're ready to get a job, or they're like going to take an internship. They've got to figure out the next big girl thing, big guy, big boy thing, whatever.
Be willing to do the hard work and do the little things. I know that's a lot of people like overlook that, but ultimately I feel like when you get into the nooks and crannies of life, it's the person that goes the extra step that really shines through no matter how you look at it. And for me, I was able to pick up a lot of small elements at a young age, but those elements then developed and it allowed me to be like, okay, like, look, I'm carrying this weight. And they were seeing how successful that small element might have been tiny, right? Like it might have been completely irrelevant to real job reality. Like, but you as an individual have to be willing to do those small things before you can ever do something big. And I know that's so redundant for a lot of individuals, but at the same time, like you just continually forget that like, if you don't do step 1, how are you ever supposed to get to step 10? Like
for real,
you have to do the time. Don't expect to just have this beautiful flourish career. Like, sorry, you gotta do the hard work and the grunt work and the paperwork and the scanning and the boring stuff before you get to do the fun stuff. And I was the ultimate like, we have to like, man, I got that stack of papers to just go through, sort them. Like you just want me to sort them like something so minor, right? You're like, well then like that little bit of like paperwork then became, I now get to assist our VP of finance in contracts. I now get to do those things and I do see it as a benefit because I was sorting those, being a part of it, reading them, learning them. Well, then it got me that much more involved with it that once I got into my now position, like, okay, you're managing those now. Like you write them, you draft them, you send them to me. I'll deal with the final proof. but you handle it. But that all started with just sorting papers.
Wow.
As an intern, right? Like those are things that people don't realize that they take.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because the Western industry is really good about understanding hard work, but a lot of jobs out there aren't. And like, I don't know what they're teaching in college nowadays, but it is not like hard work. It's like, oh, just do this and you'll get hired. When in reality, like, my fondest memory, I remember, so yours was like sorting papers. Mine was at the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo. Talk about grassroots marketing. I had these like QR codes on papers and went to all the bathroom stalls, men's and women's, by the way. I would grab an out of order sign of the men's restroom and run in and stick these papers on the inside of every stall. And I just remember being like, this is the weirdest thing. I think, like, why did I go to college to do this?
Yeah.
But in all reality, like, it made the biggest impact. And
so the first year I was hired in 2017 for the junior NFR, I literally was just doing day sheets. Something that's so redundant to a rodeo kid, right? Like, we all know what a day sheet looks like. It's not hard, really. You put the names down, you put tabs, you go get them printed, and you pick them up, and you bring them to the convention center. But like, that was my thing.
But
like,
someone needed
I had
to do
make
it
that night, and then I'd have to have them at the print shop by 7 a.m., go pick them up, and then make sure they were there at the convention center. But again, started as that. Like, that was my first role, and now
look at you.
Now we're here doing all this. So,
talk about like a glow up. I mean, like, seriously, you're the career woman. You said you're 26. That's incredible. You act probably 30, and in the best way. That's not like calling you old. It's like a true
I'm
compliment.
such an old soul, though. Like, I'm the first person to Irish goodbye you at a outdoor function or rodeo function. So if you ever see me go missing, it's really just because I went to bed.
I'm so glad you said that. Tyler, my husband, if you're listening, it is okay. It's socially acceptable to Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
That might be a hot take. Like, if you're listening, comment below and tell us if you think the Irish goodbying is like okay, because
like,
I think
it
is.
Your staff. Like, if you're there with other people, you have to tell the people you're traveling with.
True.
Other than that, no, you Irish goodbye. Sorry. I'll stand on that one.
I love that. I love that. So especially like in social events, like weddings and stuff. I did it to one of my good friends the other day, actually at her wedding. And I didn't realize until like much later after the wedding, she's like, no, Taylor, I was actually worried about you. And I was like, oh, I didn't think that people would be worried about
there's so many other people. Like, why were you looking for me?
It was your wedding.
Understand it.
That's amazing. I knew I liked you.
I'm all, 10 o'clock? It's really past my bedtime. I gotta go.
I'm like 8:30.
I mean, usually I'm about 9:30. We typically travel out of our time zone, so I get like the benefit of being the Pacific time zone. So like, then we go somewhere and you're like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. I gotta go. Which
it's
is like
early here.
8 p.m.
That's amazing.
And you're like, oops. Oopsies.
But honestly, as much as you travel, I'm sure you take up like any sleep time you can. Since you travel so much, what are some travel tips that you have? Anything that comes to mind? This is like really putting you on the spot.
Travel tips, I would have to say, don't be a me. Don't procrastinate until the last second. I am the worst procrastinator ever. My mom will get a kick out of this if she listens, because she literally gets a phone call typically around 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. And I'm not a night person, so it doesn't typically go well. And then I'm trying on outfits that I haven't even thought really about. I'm like, oh, I think this would be cute. And then you put it on, you're like, whoa, that is not going to work. And then there's usually about a couple of those. And then after that, I'm literally clueless. And my mom's like telling me like, well, what about this outfit? What about this outfit? And it's like a whole ordeal. So like, my number one tip is don't be a procrastinator. But honestly, on my Instagram last night, I was very validated, because 80% of my followers and friends in this industry are also procrastinators. So then I felt less bad about it. But that's really my only tip. And bring your own shampoo and conditioner. I can't stand hotel shampoo and conditioner.
That is a hill I'll die on too. I'm a big Amika girl. What do you use?
I'm a Pureology.
Okay.
Like the purple hydrate bottle. Yeah. I don't know. I've used it since forever. I have no great reason other than I really love it. And I love the smell of it because it's like minty.
Okay.
And
it makes you feel clean. I know.
It does.
I used it for a while too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is something that I've started doing lately. I'll be like 5 days. I can get my hair 5 days. Do you do that too? Like,
I can't.
No.
Like, I think I just have like thin and like, not thin because I don't have thin hair by any means, but like fine enough hair that it just gets oily. So I'm like 2 days max.
Oh, wow.
Which is a lot of work.
It is a lot
But
of
I
work.
do have cardboard straight hair. Like, this is natural.
This is natural?
Hair. I barely blow dried it. So I do have that blessing. I know a lot of girls, Jessica that works with us, Peace, in our digital team, She has like very curly hair. So whenever we travel, it's like a whole ordeal. And if it's humid, like her curls activate and they're like there to play. And I'm like, oh, hey, like I got straight hair again.
You're like, more humidity, good. I'm going to have straighter hair.
And it gets a little fuller when it's a little humider.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, hey, this is fabulous.
Volume maybe.
Literally.
I saw Jessica. I haven't not actually officially gotten to meet her. I don't think, but she was on stage at the Miss Rodeo America pageant this past year. And I remember just being like, she might be my new girl crush just because she's so beautiful and so kind. Like,
was Jessica on stage or Diana McCall, our VP of
Diana.
Finance?
I'm sorry, I got them confused.
You're good. They're both beautiful.
But yes.
We make a joke, and this is very not true, but in our group of women in the office, there's like 12 of us, 11, 10, I don't know, somewhere, a lot. There's 4 men versus the rest of us. Ooh. We giggle, but like all of the women in our office, I really do have to compliment. They're so beautiful. And like in their own ways, like we are all so different. And I think that's one of the funnest things when you think about like the 30 under 30 groups.
Yes.
Like our women in our office are so different, all different ages, all different times of life, and all of us love each other. Like it is so entertaining to hear, like we call it the LV girl gang, because like all of us are just like best friends. We pop off in the group chat, you know, like we genuinely enjoy spending time with each other. And I think that's another tip that I'll add in here is surround yourself with people you enjoy to work with, because at the end of the day, you spend most of your lifetime in your career. And if you don't love what you do, don't do it. Don't do it. Do not settle for that. There's a lot of things you can choose to settle for in life. I do not believe in a career situation being one you settle for, just because it takes up such a vast majority of your life.
We could end the podcast right there. That
mic drop.
So
but
true.
Like seriously, don't settle. Like go find something new. Be adventurous. Do what you need to do to succeed. Because I had no idea what I wanted to be. I'll be very frank about that. Like people ask me all the time, like, oh, did you dream of this? Or, you know, my fiance's little sister, like, she wants to be an officer and all these different things. And she's at that phase of life. She's 19, almost 20, and she's going through it. And I'm like, oh, girl, that's such a hard phase. Like, just get through it. I promise. Like, it'll be so worth it. You just got to get through it. And she's like, okay. And like, it's become a thing, right? Well, that's one of those things. I had no idea. Like, I graduated young, was done, got an internship offer, and was like, sure.
Let's go.
I don't know what I want to do. Sure, this will occupy my time. At least I have a job. Like, I was an accounting assistant before that and a receptionist. Like, I had jobs throughout high school. It wasn't like I didn't have jobs, but I was like, sure, like, I could go do this for a year or two and just have fun and, you know, we'll make a thing out of it. And then all of a sudden it was like my life. And I was like, whoa, that just happened.
How did we get here?
This can work. Like, I love this. And then the more I got involved, the more I was like, okay, I can talk. Okay. Like, okay, I'm getting in sales meetings. And really funny thing, because I was so young, and I do have to say, like, Bo took a chance with me, my boss, very big chance with me, right? Like, I was young, but like there was properties, like we couldn't meet with hotel properties sometimes, or he would have to specify like, hey, we have to go somewhere.
We can't go to the bar.
She can sit. Like, it was a thing when I first started working that like I was underage. Even when we travel, like I was underage. Like I had to be very aware of it and like plan around it, make sure we weren't meeting for drinks for certain meetings. Like it was a whole thing. So at the end of the day, the story is like, it's worth it. Just put your head down, do the work. It'll all pan out, I promise, but don't settle.
That actually reminds me of a funny thought. Did you ever feel like you were going to get to a place and then not be able to meet because they wouldn't let you in?
I honestly think it did happen once, and I don't remember where, but it did happen. I want to say it was a hotel meeting, maybe Mirage. I don't remember, but yes, we did get there, and then like we had to like awkwardly go to like the coffee shop. And then it was like one of those moments where like me personally, I was like, well, this is weird. Like sitting there like, whoop, dee-dee.
I'm a toddler.
Well, this is awkward. Like, I swear I'm a big kid, even though I'm not 21. I'm an adult, I promise.
That's really cool for you too, though, to like be so young, have a seat at the table, but then also like gain the respect of the older men, older women.
Yes.
That's like a testament to you as well. And you've given us so much good advice. So I want to ask you a little bit more about your passions and the fun stuff about Brilynn. You're just like so full of life. And that's what I love, following along and following your journey. Like everywhere you go, you make it seem like you're the party. And that's like the best thing.
I bring Vegas to you.
You do. You like literally, they need to pay you more. Bo, if you're listening, she needs to get the girl a raise. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, tell us about Brilynn outside of work. I know we were joking, like you don't ever have free time, but like what do you do in your free time?
Honestly, my free time is just filled with family. Like I am so lucky. We talked about my dad, my mom. She is an amazing human. My Aunt Sandy, right? Like everyone knows Sandy Guatney in this rodeo industry.
Yes.
And like I literally just fill myself with family, whether that's golfing. I do golf a decent amount. Fishing, tend to fish. Not actually a real fish person. I am terrified of the sea. That is a very common knowledge thing about me. Well, really water in general, fish. But I will go fishing. I find that to be entertaining. And camping, really just anything family related. I am a pretty relaxed person when it comes to outside of this world. And most of the time you catch me at a rodeo. I do not have horses at the house right now, but I talk about my horses all the time. They're here in Texas, and Aunt Sandy spoils me. There's a couple young ones coming up that I might steal. So we'll see if I decide to think I'm brave enough to break out again and decide to rope and be that person. But, you know, those unique experiences really kind of built me. And now I just somehow don't have any free time at that fun age where everyone's getting married, having babies, all those fun, crazy things. And yeah, here we are. We just survive day to day.
You're one of the ones getting married.
Yes, my fiance, Jeff. I don't know how to say anything but good things about him when it comes to the person he is. He's definitely the observer. He's very quiet. He won't say much if you do meet him, if you're lucky enough, because I do get to bring him some places. But technically a police officer and an alternate for SWAT there in Henderson. And I might get in trouble for mentioning that because he doesn't talk about it much. But at the same time, like, I'm so proud of him. It's so crazy what he gets to do and like his adrenaline rushes and the trainings they go through and they're a part of, and he comes home and tells you all about it and you're just like, whoa. But then you see this big macho armor guy, right? Like, he tell you that because that. And then, you know, my proposal was one of those you dream of. We were in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and he flew his family up there. They actually flew into a separate airport to make sure we didn't see each other. Like the whole thing that you see in the movies, like photographer, it's raining, and like all of a sudden we're walking out in very Brilynn fashion. I'm like, where are we going? We're not going to the boutiques. Little Miss Attitude.
And it was cold, right?
It was freezing. It was literally like 3 days after Christmas, and it's freezing, raining, and like we're walking, and I'm under this umbrella, and I'm just like walking around, right? Like waddling, really. And I'm like, why are we not walking to a heated like boutique? What are we doing? I thought we were going shopping, and I'm getting all like annoyed. Yeah. So entertaining because then we literally walk around. I walk right by his family, never see them. I'm just hiding under my umbrella, very Brilynn fashion. And as we like get to this Mudgee the Moose there in Coeur d'Alene, it's like a walking trail. I'm like, who wants to look at this? It's a moose. And then he's like, you're going to need to move the umbrella. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, I think you know what's happening. Like, you're going to need to move the umbrella so your family and mine can see. And I'm like, what? And like it hits. And I was like, oh. And I like turned so fast. I'm like staring off on the hill. And I'm like, your family's like, what? And then I see the photographer. It's like the whole thing. I'm like, how did you manage? Like, I am a type A. I plan everything. I book the hotel rooms. I book the flights. Like, how did you figure out how to plan this? He's like, a lot of effort.
Wow.
Like, it was so surreal, though. And I'm just super excited to spend my life with him. But
and it sounds like you had truly no idea. Like, you really had.
Like, I knew it was sometime coming in the near future, but like, day, time, place, absolutely not.
Wow.
Like, I was doing the ultimate girl thing where you're like, okay, don't get overexcited, right?
Yes.
Like, don't start thinking every vacation's going to be like a proposal. Don't start thinking a nice dinner or whatever. Like,
but also have your nails done every time.
Right. Like, hey, we're in this phase where maybe you should start getting your nails done a little bit more consistently, because I am a really bad nail person. Like, I will tend to keep them not done often. I'll pretend I didn't say that, but you know, it's actually a big thing for me. I'm really bad at it.
It's the cowgirl. I think the cowgirl in us is like, gotta use your hands, gotta, you know.
Oh yeah. Like, my poor nail girl. Thank gosh I don't rodeo anymore, because I really don't understand how I'm so hard on my hands. Like, I break nails, I get blisters still. I'm like, how do I manage?
Like I'm not even dallying. I'm not even.
Like, I don't even have a good story for this. Like, I picked up a suitcase and all of a sudden, like, no good stories.
My nail's hanging off.
Literally.
Yeah, no, well, I love that for you. That is like the cutest. We said in another episode that like Hallmark and Netflix need to be a part of this, but like truly, if you need an agent, I'm your girl, because
he 100% went Hallmark on me.
Yeah, that is
like the
cutest.
macho man in my head went Hallmark, and I was just like,
Okay, how did you meet? Did you have like a cute meet cute?
Yes and no. We've known each other for a long time, as far as like, I don't know, probably 7 years, somewhere in there. Family friend, Rob Hart. And I'd always see him at Thanksgiving. And it was funny because he did have a long-term girlfriend at one point, and you know, we were like waiting for it. Like I used to joke and tell my Aunt Sandy and be like, well, when he gets rid of that girl, like maybe, like I would totally date him. And it was a running joke, like a complete hysterical, like whatever, like you're just being a smart aleck. Well, Thanksgiving happens, and like the next day or something, my mom calls and she's like, did you know Jeff's single? And I was like, what? Literally was shocked. Like, what? Tell me more. And she's like, I don't know, but I heard Clarissa talking about it. So then, of course, that's Rob's wife. And I'm like calling. I'm like, hey, is this like really? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, why did no one tell me? Like, everyone's just been holding out. Like, this has been a year and a half. Like, no one told me. Like, this had to have happened before. And they're like, oh, yeah, it did. I'm like, no one told.
You're like, I've been here this whole time.
I was like, whatever. Okay. And then we just ended up hitting it off like immediately, like literally hung out during NFR. And I was just like, wow, okay. Like, I really like you. Like, okay, this could be something real, you know? And we just kept dating, and his family is incredible, and our families get along great. And that's huge for me. Like when you can go spend time with their family and vice versa, like that was a non-negotiable for me. But as we continued to develop, it was just like, yep, okay, you're my person.
He's the one.
And I'm not the softie usually, but I'm like, okay, he's the one. Like, all right, I'd marry him. So then the like joke went from like, oh, I'd totally date him. I'm like, I'd totally marry you. Like, come on.
Oh, that's so cute though. I'm like speechless right now. I'm like, that is, every girl out there listening is like, okay, that's the new goal. Like, yeah, every single girl.
Worth it.
Yes.
Promise.
It really is. And timing is everything. Like truly, Tyler and I talk about all the time, like if we would have actually tried dating earlier, I don't think we would have ended up married. Worked. Yeah, because we were just too immature. We hadn't been through life. Same with you guys. Like he needed to date that girl to figure out what he wanted and didn't want. And
exactly,
it all worked out the way that it did.
And I think like your career also plays into that. Honestly, I hate to say that in this sort of way, but like I put my career first for a very long time, and not saying that it's not put first now by any means, but it definitely was something that like when my relationship got more serious, I did have to find better balances and travel plans and those things. And it was this whole new world for me, like not being a free gypsy spirit of like, oh, hey, let's pick up and go. Like,
any hour of the day and night.
There. And exactly. Like, oh, hey, there's a rodeo this weekend. Great, let's drive. Like, oh, hey, there's this. Let's go. Like everything was just go. Yeah. And now it's like, okay, like, hey, we could go to this. Hey, you could go to that. I can go to that. Like definitely still doing our own things by all means, but it's intriguing to see how your phases of life will change. So don't think that one way is the right way. Like life will change. Keep going. Enjoy it. Enjoy each phase because they are all so different. It's crazy as you get older how much you're like, oh wow, this could have been very different. Oh wow, this could have like never would have worked prior. I was 100% traveling a lot, whether work or personal. Like I couldn't imagine.
No. And even you brought up a good point because there's a lot of people in the rodeo industry that work together, and I guess really in general. I just was talking to a friend whose parents are both bankers that work at the same bank, and they work together and stuff. Do you think it's like beneficial that you and Jeff work in different fields, or do you think that like you could work together? I don't think I could ever work with Tyler. Like I love you, babe, but I can't work with you. Like,
yeah, honestly, I think it's actually my biggest blessing that we are not in the same industry.
Yeah.
One of the jokes that went around is Jeff actually had asked my Uncle John, is she a suits or a cowboy girl? Mm-hmm. And that's fair. Like I work in both, cowboys and corporate, like so that was his assumption, and I was like, neither. Like I don't want anything to do with that industry. That I like. I don't want to date in my own industry. It's messy. It's like I just hard. Just avoid it at all.
Totally get it.
And like I remember that being so funny to me at the beginning because I was like, what the heck? Why would you assume that? And now I'm like, I kind of love that we don't do anything in our same industry, but like we do in small ways. Like he loves the Western world. He loves horses. He definitely
loves to go to rodeos.
Yes. Yeah. So it's more fun, I think, now when I get to like pull him into my world and be like, look what I do, and vice versa.
Oh yeah.
But like it's crazy when you hear his stories and those sides of things. You're like, whoa, okay, I'm going back mine.
Do you think you'd ever want to do a ride along with him? Do you think?
You know, I think most people are probably shocked that I haven't yet.
Yeah.
But I've kind of just avoided it because I feel like it'd be really awkward and maybe this is just mine, like I couldn't imagine him just like sitting in the corner right now, or like
That's a good point.
him being in a meeting room with me. Like, I don't know. Because then I'd have 12,000 questions and he'd be like, can you not?
I'm trying
And
to
I
be
feel like
professional.
I would be the same way, right? Like,
Yeah.
well, that we explain these stats and demographics because of this. And when we talk about hotel contracts and the SAT feed and this, that, and the other, he'd be like, okay, like, why is that relevant? And it'd be the same thing for like,
That's so true.
why does that matter? Like, oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you do like, well, because that's law. Oh, right.
Okay.
Funny. Weird. Okay. Like, I just feel like I would annoy him and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like,
I totally agree, because Tyler works in like lawn sprinkler, and like that's fun, but like such a guy thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
yeah. I like to just hear the stories when he gets home.
For
I'm
sure.
good.
The stories are like, I'm like, so what $1 million home did you work on today? Tell
Literally,
me about their
like,
inside pool.
Look at the gate that I had to drive through. Like the ridiculousness behind all of it. Or like,
Yes.
yeah, this person totally tried to do, like, it's a whole thing.
It is.
But it's like nice that we get to both come home and like explain our days and talk about them and
Yeah.
enjoy that versus like having true input and be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done this or like this, that, and the like, I don't know. I feel like it makes us be confident and like grow each other more in each of our own areas because we have such different outlooks on what we do.
And that's like the beauty of it, the balance where you find each other. That's actually something that I always admired about Sandy and John, was like they worked together, and there might have been days at rodeos that they were ready to like, they did not agree and they were ready to like kill each other.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they were still families, still came together, still loved
Yep.
each other. And that was honestly because of them. I was like, I never want to work with my husband or wife or,
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
So we do have a 5-minute rule in our family.
Okay.
This is relevant for especially when we were high school rodeoing growing up, but anything happens in the arena, you have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to complain. You have 5 minutes to scream. You have 5 minutes to be happy, whatever it may be. But you have 5 minutes. And then you leave it there.
and you get the heck over it and move
Yep.
on.
Be done with it. Don't
I
care what it is.
love that.
You have 5 minutes. Celebrate, cheer, be mad, scream, be upset.
That's it though.
Be done with it.
That works. That translates to a lot
Anything.
too. Like grieve, more than 5 minutes, but like give yourself a day, give yourself whatever. Yeah.
But put a time limit on it.
Yeah. And then
Understand that there's still life. Keep moving.
pick up, move on. And I think that's why you've made it as far as you have, because you've been able to stay like mentally sane. I'm
Yes.
taking notes from you because I'm like, mentally, there's a lot that happens, right? Like
All day.
mentally, there's like so many different spirals that we could go down. And even like competing at Miss Rodeo America, that was a whole mental game. Like
Yes.
just trying to mentally overcome just the marathon it was or whatever.
Ugh.
So I
so
am
long.
so
I
inspired
don't know
by
how
you.
you guys do it.
Yeah.
Like the marathon you run there, I don't kudos because
Right?
there's no way I could do it.
It's insane. But since we've gotten to know a lot about you in all areas, a little bit of rodeo, a little bit of boardroom, a little bit of even personal, I've got to know, what are some things that like you're really loving right now? Any podcasts, books, drinks, whatever?
Drinks wise, I love an espresso martini. I really don't drink much, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if they have an espresso martini, you can bet I'm likely ordering it to try it.
Do you get
'cause-
cream in it or just drink
Yes.
black? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
Well, I guess it depends if they serve it with it or not. I just like all versions. I
Okay.
love coffee though. Like coffee is my weakness. I start every morning with it, whether I really needed it or not. It doesn't really do anything for me. I just love coffee.
Same.
Book wise, I was not a reader after I submerged myself through school. I think I just like told myself I'm never reading again. But recently I have started picking up some Colleen Hoover books and getting lost in them. And it's actually a whole new weird thing for me. 'Cause I'm like,
Okay.
whoa, like now I'm a bookworm. Okay.
You're getting
That's
lost in
different.
books.
Yeah, like
That's
I
great.
never envisioned myself being that
Yeah.
person by any means. So yeah, pick up a book, read
Yep.
it, see
Yep.
if you like it. If you hate it, put it back down for another year and try again next year
For
because
real.
all of a sudden it might work. Like
might grow
I
on
don't know. Literally, I was stuck in an airport in Austin randomly. I don't even know what for. Oh, deep sea fishing. And Diana texted me and she's like, go grab this book. It's really, really good. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. I literally like picked it up and had it read by like the next day because I was like sunk with the It Ends With Us, right? And then the movie came out and all these things. And I was like, like whirlwind. I need to dive into this so I can be done by the movie. And like it was this whole ordeal. Well, then it just kind of led into like all this, and I'm reading books again. And I'm like, I pack a book in my bag now. Like,
Who am I?
weird.
You're aging well.
I guess. And I can still see, so that's nice. I don't have to pack readers yet.
That's so true. I actually last year had to go to the eye doctor for the first time in a while. And they were like, you can't see far away or close up. And I was just like, cool. This explains a lot.
Like, great, thanks. So can you fix it? They're like, yeah, with this, this, and this. You're like, oh, great. Add that to my things to do every day.
No, for real. Speaking of that, do you have any, you said you drink coffee in the morning. Do you have any routines that you do daily? Anything?
No, I'm probably actually the least routine, most routine person, if that makes any sense. Like my mornings always start the same. But besides that, once I get to work at 8 o'clock, we usually get there early as the corporate marketing team. We just take that time to really meet, make sure we're aligned on everything that we're going to go through that day. And then like you just go work on whatever you're on and whatever the day leads to, like whenever you leave, that's when you leave. Typically around 4, sometimes around 5 or 6 during the end of the year, definitely a lot later. But aside from that, like, no, I'm trying to get back into routine because when I had horses, yes, everything was ritual. Like you did this, you got up at this time, fed, rode, blah, 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 right? Like there's no time to not be scheduled.
Yeah.
But no.
Okay, well, I know we're like almost out of time, but I'm dying to know what it's like living in Las Vegas during the NFR. How do you manage it? Do you get to sleep in your own bed?
No.
Okay.
So we move into hotels typically 5 days before, like the Monday or Sunday. As far as Cowboy Christmas goes, that starts actually like 2 weeks in advance with the hall, everything going in there, signage going up, carpets, everything you can imagine.
Electric.
It's unreal.
All the things, yeah.
But no, NFR for me is a whirlwind. I literally do become the ultimate planner. I have a note sheet of what I have to wear every day with details of what jewelry, boots, hat, scarf, whatever the heck goes with it. I don't feel like I have any time to think, but we put our heads down, we survive the days, and you go with it. Usually by day 6, it becomes fun. You finally get to start breathing. You've got through all the conferences. You've got through all the check-ins
awards,
on
banquets,
the youth side. And, you know, we do a turnover at day 5 for us. So, like, once I get rolling on the first group, we like, hey, we're wrapping up. And now we bring in the next group for their back number ceremonies on the finals day on that Sunday, Monday. And, like, it becomes this whole thing. And then once we get to day 6 and 7, I'm like, whew, okay. Now we're living the NFR. And then we typically will go see an after show of some sort and hopefully sneak a few concerts in and enjoy. But yes, as far as that goes, Cowboy Christmas all day, Junior NFR all day, Thomas and Mac. Then if you're lucky, you'll see me out at a hotel property, but not likely.
Yeah, you're like, but also I'll be in bed early.
But also I try and get to bed. Like that new start time of NFR, I know it happened because of like the Eastern Standard Time, really just engaging those listeners in that like demographic because we caught them when we came in 2020. Like we realized how many East Coast listeners there were, or streamers, however you want to reference that. And like coming back, that was one of the big things that went into play. Also getting them back to hotels and letting them have time to go to a concert after the rodeo. Like it allows you to do both if you really want to.
Yeah.
And so that really ended up playing a favor into me personally. I'll be like, thank you. But like really the big picture there was a lot more going on.
Oh, for sure. And I think what's cool about you is like you have the opportunity to walk down the strip at any point in time and go to any restaurant, any hotel. So I'm sure this is like a hard question to ask you since you're in partnerships and you like have really good relationships with the hotels. But what's your favorite like restaurant to eat at on the strip or in the hotels? And then where's your favorite place to stay?
Oh, stay wise. I feel like that's a hard one because there really is so many good options.
There are.
Food wise though, I would have to say I was just pleasantly surprised for the very first time in a long time. Fountain Blue allowed us to go to Dawn Prime.
Okay.
There in their steakhouse, and it was incredible. I would say it definitely is right there alongside Michael's at South Point. You cannot go wrong. It's an experience in its own.
Yes.
You cannot go wrong. And then Golden Steer. Like those are 3 that I think you could consistently count on to really show up and be like, whoa, that was an experience. And I think that's what's unique about Vegas. You talk about experiences, NFR specifically, there's 116 experiences or NFR after darks that happen after the start of NFR time.
Wow.
So when you think about the opportunity, that doesn't count any restaurants, that doesn't count any of those things. That's just concerts, after parties, viewing parties, whatever it may be. So
116, really?
116 that take place in 10 days.
Wowza. I've never counted them. But you being a numbers girl, you have to count them.
We do. It's part of our presentations. Wow. But yeah, it's insane to see the true opportunity there in Vegas as a fan. Like, you know, Chris Stapleton, George Strait, that concert went on, but those were 60,000 seat venues, right? Like,
holy cow.
that group, we could anticipate probably half of them, maybe 3/4 of them were already there in Vegas, but there's definitely a new demographic playing in this rodeo world. And I think, you know, you talk cowboys cool right now, cowboy boots, cowboy hats, especially, like, it's a very unique world we're living in with the Western industry. And like the fact that we get to really just entertain it and give them every opportunity in a 20-mile radius in Las Vegas. And we always say, like, stay your way, because you can come and stay at the nicest hotel and have this bougie experience, let's be real.
Yeah.
Or you can come and stay at a lower end property, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can come go to the free viewing parties, you can go to the free Cowboy Christmas and walk around and be a part of this experience. And there's something for everyone, and it's so unique.
Yeah.
Just because that you truly can do it your way anyway and still make it work.
That is such a good perspective. I've never stopped to think, because I've heard you guys say stay your way, but I've never stopped to think about like what it actually meant. So that's so cool. We could talk for hours, and I feel like maybe in the future before NFR, I need to have you back on, maybe via Zoom or something, to like talk through like actual Cowboy Christmas hacks and stuff like that. Cause like, and junior NFR hacks and stuff.
Take Uber. That's okay.
For real. Or like the Tesla tunnels.
The Loop. I'll give you some key. The Loop will be available at Westgate, Virgin, Resorts World, and Encore, technically.
Okay.
So there's your Tesla Loop. The monorail is always a fantastic option. I highly advise not driving to Cowboy Christmas
100%.
or Junior NFR. Junior NFR does get to come back, a very, very fun celebration, 10 years in Las Vegas, over 745 contestants, 800 plus entries. Streaming actually is extended into Brazil now, so the interest is in 5 different countries. Very proud of our producers we work with throughout the year, and truly they're who make it possible. But Vegas is the place to be in December, no matter how you look at it.
It is, for, I mean, multiple reasons. There's so many things going on, and shame on me for not having the Instagram pulled up and ready for them, but it's at Junior NFR, right?
Yes.
Or NFR Finals?
NFR Experience.
Okay.
As far as NFR goes, and then Junior NFR Las Vegas.
Okay, that's the official @ handle. Yes. Okay, because I'm like, I have yours. If you guys want to catch up with Brilynn, hers is, I don't even know if you want me to give out your personal Instagram, but I am. Here I am. Brilynn_Bentley. And we didn't even get to really talk about the podcast, so I'm sorry about that. But if you have loved what you've heard from Brilynn and you want to see more and hear her personality shine through, she's one of the 3 hosts of NFR Extra. And you can find that anywhere that you get podcasts, the same way you're listening to this podcast right now. I'll also tag it below in the show notes. But you guys, I am just so happy that you got to hear Brylynn's story. And Brilynn, thank you for being on. This has been like such an honor. I know you've had like 5 seconds, so I'm thankful to take like 5 seconds of your time in Fort Worth. But I just wish you the best in all that you do. I'm so excited to see your wedding photos of your beautiful wedding. Yeah, in less than a year. Hug your mom and dad next time you see them. Tell them I said hi. And if you guys, like I said, want to hear more from Brilynn, check out her Instagram, check out her podcast, NFR Extra. And you maybe just might get lucky enough to even run into her if you head out to Vegas at NFR. But anyways, we're so excited that you listened. Thank you for joining us. And as always, please like, subscribe, share this with your friends. And we can't wait to see you the next time you kick your boots up.
Thanks for joining us on Kick Your Boots Up. I'm your host, Taylor McAdams, and we can't wait to share the next story of the West. Until then, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Follow us on social media at Justin Boots to keep up with our next episode. And we'll see you the next time you kick your boots up.